Greetings, I am Reverend Yue McCormick, Head Minister of En-Yuzan, Perfect Dragon Mountain, Shinganji, True Vow Temple of the Nichiren Shu Sangha of the San Francisco Bay Area. This presentation is the first part of a three-part series on the life of Tiantai Zhiyi. I also want to apologize beforehand for any mispronunciation of Chinese names. Nichiren was ordained and trained as a Tendai monk, so many of his teachings and arguments are incomprehensible without at least a rudimentary understanding of Tiantai Buddhism. In this presentation, I will briefly cover the life of its founder, Tiantai Zhiyi, who lived from 538 to 597. In the 6th century, the Chinese monk Zhiyi established a teaching center on Mount Tiantai. He was later known as the Great Master Tiantai, the school's founder, who was named for the mountain where its head temple was located. Zhiyi was a great scholar and meditator who wanted to systematize all the seemingly contradictory teachings that had been translated into Chinese. To do this, he classified the Buddha's teachings into 5 flavors and 8 categories of teaching. The 5 flavors are the flower garland teaching, found in the Sutra of that name, which are likened to milk. The teachings given at the Deer Park concerning the Four Noble Truths, which are likened to cream. The expanded teachings, which introduce the Mahayana, which are likened to curds. The teachings of the perfection of wisdom, or prajna, which are likened to butter. And finally, the teachings of the Lotus Sutra and Mahayana Nirvana Sutra, which are likened to ghee, or clarified butter. The 4 methods of teaching are the sudden, gradual, secret, and indeterminate. The sudden teaching is the flower garland's sudden presentation of the Buddha's own awakened perspective. The gradual teachings are the Deer Park, expanded, and prajna teachings, which gradually deepen the perspective of the listeners. The secret teaching is when disciples are secretly given teachings that only they are ready to understand. Indeterminate teachings are when the same teaching is given, but the listeners understand it in different ways, some in a more shallow way and some more profoundly. The 4 doctrinal teachings are the Tripitaka, which are the Deer Park teachings for voice hearers, the flower garland, expanded, and prajna teachings that are shared by the voice hearers and bodhisattvas, the flower garland, expanded, and prajna teachings that are distinctly for advanced bodhisattvas, and the perfect teaching of the one vehicle that is found in the Lotus Sutra and Nirvana Sutra. As a practitioner and scholar, Zhiyi put equal emphasis on meditation practice and doctrine to create a balanced system whereby doctrine would inform practice and practice would actualize doctrine. The concept of the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment that Nichiren Shonin emphasized in his writings was part of Zhiyi's explanation of the sudden and perfect method of calming and contemplation meditation. Zhiyi also spoke of awakening in terms of realizing the unity of the threefold truth of emptiness, provisional existence, and the middle way, to clarify the true meaning of the teachings of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras and Nagarjuna's teachings regarding emptiness, causality, and the middle way. He derived the unity of the threefold truth from a line in Nagarjuna's major work, Root Verses on the Middle Way, which says, "Whatever is dependently co-arisen, that is explained to be emptiness. That, being a dependent designation, is itself the middle way." Zhiyi taught that the threefold truth could be realized through a threefold contemplation, cutting through the 3 categories of delusion and giving rise to the 3 kinds of knowledge. Ultimately, Zhiyi taught that the 3 truths of the threefold truth are simply different aspects of the one true nature of reality that can be realized in a single moment of insight. Zhiyi was born in 538 during the reign of Emperor Wu, the founder of the Liang dynasty. Emperor Wu was a devout Buddhist. He banned animal sacrifices and opposed executions. Unfortunately, his leniency allowed corruption to go unchecked, and he was overthrown by a mercenary warlord named Ho Jing in 549, imprisoned and then starved to death. Ho Jing finally declared himself emperor in 551, but was in turn overthrown by Emperor Wu's seventh son, Xiao Yi, who became Emperor Yuan. This did not last long. A grandson of Emperor Wu enlisted the aid of Western Wei to kill Emperor Yuan and take the throne, which they did in the 12th month of 554. They captured Emperor Yuan, and he was executed the following year. When the capital city of Jiangling was sacked by the Western Wei forces, Zhiyi lost both his parents. In fact, his father had been a commander in the military serving Emperor Yuan. According to Leon Hurwitz, the sack of Jiangling left Zhiyi and his older brother, Chen Jin, orphans. When Zhiyi went to take leave of his brother to enter the Buddhist novitiate, the latter attempted to dissuade him from aggravating the already keen sorrow of orphanhood. Zhiyi replied that even in Xiao Yi's heyday at Jiangling, he had no desire to remain in the world, and that he had even less now, having experienced at first hand the impermanence of all worldly things. As for the doomed Liang dynasty, it finally fell in 557 when a Liang general named Chen Baxian seized the throne for himself and established the Chen dynasty that lasted until it was conquered by the Sui dynasty in 589. As we can see, Zhiyi's youth was filled with traumatic events, corruption abetted by an exaggerated Buddhist tolerance by the emperor, civil wars, the sacking of cities, and the overthrow of dynasties. There would be more of this throughout his adulthood. Zhiyi was 17 when he became a novice. He was first tutored by a monk named Fa Zhu at Guo Yuan Su Temple and was given complete monastic precepts by the precept master Hui Kuang at the age of 20. During these early years, he also studied the Mahayana teachings. During a retreat on Mount Taishan, he intensively studied the threefold Lotus Sutra. In 560 of the Common Era, Zhiyi visited Nanyue Hui Su, who lived from 515 to 577, on Mount Dasu, and studied the Lotus Sutra under him. There is a legend that when Zhiyi met Hui Su, his teacher greeted him by saying that he had been waiting for him. He said that they had been together at Mount Sacred Eagle, where they had heard the Lotus Sutra from Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Hui Su was supposedly an earthly manifestation of world voice perceiver Bodhisattva, and Zhiyi was supposedly an earthly manifestation of Medicine King Bodhisattva. Zhiyi, as a result of intense practice, is said to have attained awakening through this phrase of the previous life of Medicine King Bodhisattva chapter of the Lotus Sutra. Quote, "The Buddhas of those worlds praised him, saying simultaneously, 'Excellent, excellent, good man. All you did was a true endeavor. You made an offering to us according to the Dharma.'" End quote. Zhiyi's awakening was certified by Hui Su. Hui Su would later move to Mount Nanyue in 568, which is why he is known as the Great Master Nanyue. With that, I bring the first part of this three-part presentation of the life and teachings of Tiantai Zhiyi to a close. I hope that this presentation was helpful and informative and will help to enrich your faith in and practice of Nichiren Buddhism.